Hong Kong's exchange fund breaks record in 2025 amid market rally. Government considers allowing more non-English programs on local English TV channels. And U.S. lawmakers sprayed with unknown substance in Minneapolis. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. Hong Kong's exchange fund recorded a record high investment income of $331 billion in 2025. Mimo Singhai reports.
The Hong Kong Monetary Authority on Wednesday said the general performance of the city's exchange fund was positive last year. Among the total recorded exchange fund's investment income of $331 billion, bond holdings reached $142.2 billion, whereas equity holdings was at $108 billion. Overall, the exchange fund achieved an investment return of 8% in 2025.
This is uncommon and has occurred only twice over the past 15 years. Looking ahead to 2026, the exceptional confluence of multiple favorable factors that shape market performance in 2025 may not repeat and may not last long. Factors such as global economic conditions, monetary policies of major central banks, developments in AI, and geopolitical conflicts could all affect market performance.
Despite uncertainties in the global financial market, HKMA said authorities do not make fluctuating investment decisions.
Investor with such an amount of asset is impossible and impracticable for us to really go in and go out of the market in a very big way on a daily or even weekly basis. So the important things we need to do is to ensure that we have a very good portfolio construction, that we have diversified asset classes.
When asked about whether HKMA would increase its gold holdings amid soaring prices, the financial institution said the amount is not significant because of its low correlation to traditional assets such as stocks and bonds. Momus 9, TVB News.
The Hong Kong Institute of Certified Public Accountants projects an improvement in the city's finances. It estimates the fiscal deficit for 2025-26 will plummet to $1.4 billion, a sharp contrast to the government's forecast of $67 billion. The group believes one of the reasons behind the projected recovery was a resurgent stock market, which has pumped significantly more stamp duty revenue into the government's coffers. The city is still in the red, but this is due to significant investment in infrastructure. By the end of March, fiscal reserves are expected to stand at $652.9 billion. That's enough to cover 10 months of government spending. To lower the burden on small and medium enterprises, the Institute suggests the government adjust the two-tiered profits tax system. They also called for a one-off 100% reduction on salary and profits tax for individuals with a cap of $5,000. The government is consulting the public regarding the renewal of licenses for the 3 local TV stations. The Communication Authority revealed that it's inclined to relax the broadcasting time restrictions for non-English programs on English language channels. Samantha Lee tells us more.
The licenses for the 3 domestic free-to-air TV stations will expire next year. During a panel discussion in Lachko, some lawmakers wondered if the broadcasting ordinance could be loosened, such as allowing more product placement or reviewing the restrictions on non-English shows on English channels.
咁係咪實際上咁多人睇英文台呢？
For English program channels, are they really that popular? In fact, such channels are not viable. So the licensees just purchase low-quality English programs to satisfy the legislation requirement.
放寬咧係令到佢哋更加可以係發展到。
We are thinking of how we can relax the rules to promote the development, such as product placement in programs, and also whether in English channel can we relax the rules and allow programs of other languages and also child programs? We are thinking of relaxing the rules and make recommendations to the CE.
Meanwhile, some legislators suggested the RTHK launch an AI-powered platform to help the public get information faster.
We are
carrying out consolidation and upgrading work. After our website is enhanced, it will be even easier for people to search for RTHK programs. And you said there can be programs with themes on Hong Kong. I think in our optimized app, we will see how we can install special functions, making it easier for users to search for programs.
The panel discussion also covered the development of the new RTHK headquarters in Tseung Kwan O. Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development Algernon Yao said the government is still looking at the budget and the actual needs to formulate a plan. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Protesters gathered outside a federal courthouse in Minneapolis to rally against U.S. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino. Meanwhile, a man sprayed an unknown substance on Democratic U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar and was tackled to the ground during a town hall in the city. Daniel Rowell tells us more.
Protesters gathered outside a federal courthouse in Minneapolis to rally against U.S. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino. Bovino and a few agents are leaving the city after federal officers fatally shot 2 people in less than 3 weeks. The Border Patrol chief led agents in Los Angeles, Chicago and New Orleans before he headed to Minnesota in December. U.S. President Donald Trump has now dispatched Border Czar Tom Homan to Minnesota to take charge of immigration and customs enforcement operations there. Meanwhile, a man sprayed an unknown substance on Democratic U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar and was tackled to the ground during a town hall in Minneapolis. Minneapolis police said officers saw the man use a syringe to spray an unknown liquid at Omar. They immediately arrested him and booked him at the county jail for third-degree assault. Just before that, Omar had called for the abolishment of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to resign or face impeachment. U.S. President Trump has frequently criticized the Congresswoman and has stepped up verbal attacks on her in recent months as he turned his focus on Minneapolis. Hours before the incident, the U.S. president criticized Omar as he spoke to a crowd in Iowa, saying his administration would only let in immigrants who can show they love our country.
We need people to come in legally, but they have to show that they can love our country, not hate our country. They have to show that they're not going to blow up our shopping centers, blow up our farms, kill people. They're coming in legally, but they cannot come in unless they come in legally into our country, and we're letting some great people come in. They have to show that they can love our country. They have to be proud, not like Ilhan Omar.
Meanwhile, U.S. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer called Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem a liar, vicious and incompetent, and appealed for her to be fired after the fatal shootings of Minneapolis protesters by federal authorities.
Kristi Noem is a liar. She's vicious. She's also incompetent. Donald Trump must fire her at once before another American is killed under her watch.
Darrell, TV News.
The Trump administration has notified Congress that it's taking the first steps to possibly reopen the shuttered U.S. embassy in Venezuela. The U.S. is exploring the restoration of relations with Venezuela after this month's military raid that ousted then-President Nicolas Maduro. In a notice to lawmakers, the State Department said it was sending in a regular and growing contingent of temporary staffers to conduct select diplomatic functions. Nazvi Karim with details.
The U.S. Embassy in Caracas shuttered its doors in 2019 when Washington halted diplomatic relations. With Nicolas Maduro facing trial after being seized by the U.S. military, U.S. President Donald Trump is trying to normalize ties with his successor, acting President Delcy Rodriguez. However, this would require the U.S. revoking its decision to recognize the Venezuelan parliament elected in 2015 as the legitimate government. Meanwhile, Colombian President Gustavo Petro urged Trump to return Maduro to Venezuela to stand trial in his home country. Maduro and his wife were taken from Caracas on January 3rd and sent to New York to face drug trafficking charges. Trump once said that Petro could be next on his list, even with the Colombian leader expected to visit the White House on February 3rd in an attempt to improve bilateral relations. In the wake of Maduro's fall, Trump wants to stop oil supplies to Cuba from Venezuela. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum on Tuesday said her government has at least temporarily stopped all shipments to Cuba, adding that it was not because of pressure from the U.S. She said it was partly over general fluctuations in oil supplies. Sheinbaum added that Mexico will continue to show solidarity with Havana, which has relied heavily on Mexican oil over the years in the face of U.S. sanctions. On the streets of Havana, thousands of students carrying torches marched to honor Cuba's national hero, José Martí, on the 173rd anniversary of his birthday. President Miguel Diaz-Canel attended wearing a T-shirt reading Centenary Anti-Imperialism Torch. Nazri Karim, TVB News.
Still ahead, doomsday clock moves to 85 seconds to midnight. Israel insists on Gaza rebuilding only after Hamas disarms. And Keir Starmer in China for a 3-day visit. Welcome back. A science-oriented advocacy group has moved its doomsday clock for this year to 85 seconds to midnight and said the Earth is closer than ever to destruction.
That humanity has not made sufficient progress on the existential risks that endanger us all. We thus move the clock forward. The doomsday clock is a tool for communicating how close we are to destroying our world with technologies of our own making. The risks we face from nuclear weapons, climate change, and disruptive technologies are all growing. Every second counts, and we are running out of time. Every second counts.
The doomsday clock was created in the wake of the aftermath of the use of atomic bombs in the Second World War, with the aim of alerting the public to threats to humanity. The clock has been steadily advancing closer to midnight, as scientists say politicians failed to take necessary actions to reverse the risks. Last year, it was moved to 89 seconds to midnight. With the remains of the last hostage returned to Israel from Gaza, the next phase of the U.S.-brokered peace process begins. But it is fraught with challenges. Nazvi Karim has more.
The hostage clock in Tel Aviv finally stops. After 843 days, 12 hours, 5 minutes and 59 seconds, the last Israeli hostage was returned from Gaza. It took more than 4 months after October's ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas to find the remains of Ran Gvili. His sister Shira said during a rally that they can now really stop the clock and move forward to breathe normally and accept. Palestinians in Gaza are hoping that the return of the last hostage will see a breakthrough in the peace process. Ali Abul Al-Aish from Rafah said it is important now to reopen the Rafah crossing into Egypt, especially for those who are in urgent need of medical treatment. However, the next phases of the peace plan are likely to face a number of obstacles. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the reopening of the Rafah crossing is limited for only a few people and is subject to intense screening by Israeli authorities, particularly for those entering, adding that he would not stop people from leaving the Strip. A key issue is forcing Hamas to disarm, which the group says will only happen upon the establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state. Netanyahu said the rehabilitation of the Strip before Hamas disarms will not happen, and that the establishment of a Palestinian state will also not happen. Meanwhile, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, said restoring Gaza's shattered education system is life-saving and an immediate priority.
Before this war on children, Palestinians in Gaza had some of the highest literacy rates in the world. Education was a source of pride, resilience and progress for generations. Today, that legacy is very much under attack. Schools, universities and libraries have been destroyed and years of progress have been erased. This isn't just physical destruction, it is an assault on the future itself.
Nazri Karim, TVB News.
A South Korean court sentenced former First Lady Kim Kun-hee to 20 months in prison for corruption ahead of the verdict for disgraced former President Yoon Suk-yeol over his martial law imposition. The South Central District Court sentenced Kim for receiving gifts from the Unification Church in return for business favors. The court acquitted Kim of charges of stock price manipulation and political funding law violations, citing a lack of evidence. Kim's defense team thanked the court for its verdict, but said the prison term was relatively high. It said it will discuss whether to appeal. Kim has been in jail since August, with the Seoul court citing the chance she might destroy evidence. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is in Beijing for a 4-day state visit, seeking a thaw in relations with the world's second-largest economy. His visit was the first by a British Prime Minister since Theresa May in 2018 and follows that of Canadian leader Mark Carney earlier this January. Danny Zhou has the report.
Keir Starmer's flight landed in the Beijing airport this afternoon. He is later to meet with President Xi Jinping, Premier Li Qiang and China's top legislator Zhao Leji during his stay in the capital city before departing for Shanghai. A delegation of 2 ministers and more than 50 corporate chiefs, including representatives from HSBC, GSK and Jaguar Land Rover Automotive, joining Starmer on the visit. Starmer said on the plane that it is in Britain's interest to engage with China through candid dialogue and make some real progress, including in areas of disagreement. He said the country cannot afford to ignore the economic opportunities presented by China, while stressing it must remain vigilant about potential security threats. Earlier, Starmer told his cabinet that they had veered from the golden age to the ice age in relations with Beijing, yet he would follow a strategic and consistent strategy. Reports say he's eyeing deepened cooperation in sectors of creative industries and life sciences, among others, in a bid to guarantee Britain greater access to China's markets for its financial services, luxury cars and Scotch whisky. Lauding the sound and steady development of the two countries' economic relations, the Commerce Ministry in Beijing said they are expected to ink trade and investment cooperation agreements that will foster new growth drivers. The ministry has pledged to work with British authorities to implement the leaders' important consensus, create a fair and transparent environment under the rule of law, and strengthen communication on economic and trade policies. Meanwhile, a foreign ministry spokesperson pointed out that the visit is an opportunity to forge political trust and deepen pragmatic cooperation amid the current complex and volatile international situation. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
In Hong Kong, 42 people died in 37 separate industrial accidents in 2025. This according to the Hong Kong Federation of Trade Unions Occupational Safety and Health Association. The association said the construction industry was the hardest hit. Of the 37 fatal industrial accidents last year, the construction sector accounted for 20 cases, causing 24 deaths. This includes the large-scale scaffolding collapse at the Kai Tak site, as well as multiple construction workers who died in the fire at Wang Fuk Court in Tai Po. The association believes action is needed at the source to improve construction site conditions and reduce accident risks. It recommends clarifying the responsibilities of project participants, including developers, contractors, design, management, and frontline personnel. It's also pushing for the strengthening of deterrence and fostering a positive occupational safety culture. The Hong Kong University of Science and Technology on Wednesday said its researchers have developed an AI model to forecast dangerous convective storms. Mimo Singai reports.
At first, weather has become a global issue that countries hope to tackle by minimizing its impacts on societies. An HKUST research team has developed the world's first AI model, known as Deep Diffusion Model of Satellite Data, to better forecast rapidly evolving weather such as rainstorms, thunderstorms, and tornadoes, compared to the conventional models, which rely on numerical prediction methods. The AI system uses satellite data that monitors cloud evolution from space, allowing the model to forecast storm development with a lead time of 4 hours, instead of the present models giving only 20 minutes to 2 hours warning time. The system also improves the forecast accuracy rate by more than 15%.
Deep diffusion is a kind of a relatively newcomer in the Seoul AI techniques. We actually use that to represent this kind of chaotic randomness in the weather forecast.
While the team has trained the model through data collected by China's Fengyun 4A satellite, Su mentioned observation using different channels as a key aspect of improving the system's accuracy and lead time.
Observations from satellites, from ground-based instrument, and also potentially with like aircraft measurements from a lot of UAVs. So if we have a low altitude economy, we have a lot of drones flying. We can also put sensors on those UAVs, so we can actually collect more data.
The team has reached out to the observatory and shared their AI model in the hope of collaborating with the institution. Memos 9. TVB News.
And that's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.